Hi there, and welcome to my very first TikTok ever. Not sure how I'm going to do this, but I'm going to do it. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Heather. I'm a neurolinguistics practitioner, and I'm the founder of Healing Self-Care Compass. The next several episodes, multiple episodes at that, are going to be my story of how I survived the better part of 2 decades at the hands of a very vile narcissist. I don't know how I did it, but I fucking did it, and I'm here to tell my story. My story begins back in the early 2000s. I was in the process of getting a divorce from my now ex-husband. We share 3 beautiful children together. And I met a person on the internet. Without going into the boring details, it was on a website that my then husband decided to set up, searching for another couple for us to do things with. When I found out about this, I was horrified, and when he left for work on this night back in the early 2000s, I did everything I could to go on the internet and find this. At the time, it was called the World Wide Web. I guess I just dated myself there, but here we are. I didn't end up finding the profile, but what I did end up finding was this individual on this dating site, looking for a partner or something. And we connected, we started chatting online, exchanged a few pictures. The very next morning, we exchanged phone numbers. The very next morning, that individual called me at like 7 a.m. We spoke on the phone briefly. Seemed a little odd to me, but I was in the middle of a divorce, and it was quite a contentious divorce, and I was very vulnerable and probably needy, to be honest, and it was probably very obvious. That person then wanted to call me again on the lunch hour, did so. Wanted to call me again after work on the way home, did so. We chatted on the phone for a couple of weeks. I shared this information with a couple of my very good friends from high school, and I told them something about this individual doesn't feel right. There's a serious disconnect. There's a significant feeling of just hollowness. And it just didn't feel right. So I kind of backed off on taking the phone calls. Texting wasn't a huge thing back then, especially for me. So we just talked periodically. A couple more weeks went by. The individual says they want me to come to meet them out of state. I agreed to do so, but as the date approached and the date came that I was supposed to go, I changed my mind. It didn't feel right. Damn it, I should have stuck with my gut. But the day that I was supposed to leave, I received a voicemail from this individual with a theatrical audio performance worthy of many, many awards, basically begging me to come and guilting me into it. They had taken this time off of work, they had set this time aside, they had made plans and whatnot. So in the car I go, make arrangements for my children for the weekend, and I'm off and running. I arrive at this person's residence, and it was whirlwind. In the house I went, up the stairs, around the corner, and there they were. It was an instantaneous embrace. An embrace so intense that this person literally kind of dug their fingernails into my shoulders while hugging me. And it was weird, but it was exhilarating all at the same time. It was all the attention that I clearly wasn't getting in my marriage because, well, we were getting a divorce. And so it was exciting. I spent the next 3 or 4 days there. The sex was amazing. It was titillating. It was new and exciting. We went out to dinner. We took a few little side road trips, and it was just everything that was exciting and new. It's a woman with 3 kids going through a divorce. I mean, come on now. I'm in my mid-30s. Who doesn't want that? But on the first night we were going to bed, this individual started to say, "I love you," and stopped themselves short. And I thought, as the hairs were standing up on the back of my neck, who says that after 5 minutes? Who fucking says that? But I just, let it go. I was the most beautiful woman they had ever seen. I was the smartest. I was the tallest, the thinnest, the everything, right? Everything. Everything you could think of, I was told I was. And I loved it. I ate that shit up. It was great. Day 3, this individual finally says to me, I have to tell you something, and I don't want to scare you, but this has never happened to me before. I'm falling in love with you. And then corrected and said, actually, I have fallen in love with you. I was having an intense internal panic attack, but I set it back. Now, going back to that moment, I can feel it like it's right now, and I would say I felt obligated to say it, although I would be lying if I said that I didn't have a high level of excitement and attraction to this person at that time because of everything I just said. So I spent the rest of the weekend, and throughout this part of this weekend, it's important to note, and looking back now, that there was a lot of discussion about previous relationships for this person. This person told me of their ex-spouse and what a compulsive liar the ex-spouse was, and what a bullshitter the ex-spouse was, and how the ex-spouse was responsible for the bad relationship that this individual had with their daughter. And I found it odd that the child did not live in the home with the parent, and I found it odd that this individual didn't ever see their child and would go for months at a time without talking to him. Another red flag I chose to ignore. It was easily explained away. They had a bad ex-spouse, right? They had an abusive ex-spouse who was a compulsive liar, who was a manipulator, who was a cheater, all things. And I believed it. Why wouldn't I? I mean, why would they lie to me? Why would they lie to me? So I left, headed home, but not before we made plans to meet up again the very next weekend. Not before we made plans for the next 6 holidays. Not before we made plans to vacation together. Not before we made plans to introduce my children. A little quick. Come on, Heather. Not before we made plans for this individual to meet my parents. Come on. Again, it's been 5 minutes. But I was sucked right up in it, and I was fully in, and I was ready to go. Fast forward, several weeks go by, 6 weeks to be exact. It's now my birthday. I have already introduced this individual to my best friend at the time and his partner, and we make plans to go to a large city, to a casino, where you can have a ton of fun. We're going to celebrate my birthday there. Fast forward, this individual gets absolutely annihilated drunk. Alcoholism is a factor in this story, and more will come out as I go on. And we're in the casino, and this individual is playing blackjack or something. I'm not a gambler, so I don't necessarily know all this. I don't know what the dealer said to the person I was dating at the time, but something along the lines of, game over, your chips are gone, your money's out, whatever it is. And the dealer was a person of color. This individual that I was with went on an absolutely aggressive, vulgar, racist tirade and was then physically removed by security out of the building and basically thrown onto the streets. I, of course, followed with my best friend and his partner in tow. When we got outside, I was trying to explain to this individual that that type of behavior is unacceptable. Like, what the fuck's wrong with you kind of thing. Although I didn't use any profanity. I was trying to be understanding. I explained it away because they were drunk, and maybe it was because they were drunk. People say things when they're drunk they don't mean, whatever. And it was at that moment that I was looked dead in the eye and head down, and I was told, "You are an ungrateful little bitch." And I said, "Wait, what? What? You're the one that's in there on this racist tirade. How am I an ungrateful little bitch?" And this person said to me, "I came all this way to celebrate your birthday. I paid for all these things. I paid for your best friend and his partner to have dinner last night. It was $500. And this is the way you fucking treat me?" Red flag. More to come.